What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, don't forget to like this video, as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day. So make sure to like this video, clicking that button down below. And if we get 550 likes, I will do another video for tomorrow. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group. And as you guys see, we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong, got 22 right, which is a 98% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 98% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 98% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $3,050 just yesterday. Another member who won $860 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Carl Stu 12 who said let's go. Shouts out to Antonizio Wallace who said good luck to all. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is Egor Demin, and this one is for 13.5 points and rebounds, and this one actually is for more. Now looking at Egor, we have seen him go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now this one is interesting to see. Not only that, but we do know January 22nd faced off against the New York Knicks, actually had 7 points and rebounds there. January 24th faced off against the Boston Celtics, had 10 points and rebounds in that matchup. January 26th faced off against the LA Clippers, had 14 points and rebounds. Then January 28th faced off against Phoenix, had 20 points and rebounds, and then 35 points and rebounds against Utah Jazz on January 31st. So very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Egor, he definitely has done a great job, especially as of lately, and also had a massive game against Utah Jazz as well. Now his average over the last 5 is a 17.2, so I definitely do believe that is something, you know, to definitely keep an eye out for. But it is also, his average over the last 5 is significantly on the over. Now, Brooklyn Nets do have themselves a very good matchup going up against none other than the Detroit Pistons. So it is going to be a great game there. Now, looking at where both of these teams do lie, starting off with actually, you know, Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets come in at the 13th spot in the Eastern Conference. And not only that, but they also are 13 wins, 34 losses. That's a 27.7% win percentage. So they definitely have done a fantastic job there. 6-17 from home, 7-17 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So really interesting to see, because Brooklyn Nets have definitely struggled just a little bit, but they face off against a Detroit Pistons team that do rank first in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have 35 wins and 12 losses. That's a 74.5% win percentage there. 18-5 from home, 16-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So really interesting to see. Now looking at someone like, or looking at a team like Detroit Pistons and where they do rank defensively, starting off with points allowed, we do see that the Detroit Pistons come in, you know, a position, in a pretty good position at that when it comes to points allowed, as a ranked 4th, allowing actually 110.4 points per game. So they've done a great job there at, you know, restricting points. And on top of that, when we also look at rebounds allowed, we also do find Detroit Pistons ranked 4th, allowing 41.4 points rebounds per game. So, you know, when you look at that, it is pretty interesting to see, because obviously Detroit Pistons do rank very well. So why do we like the over for this situation here? Now, it does come down to a couple of reasons. The first being is that when we look on a per position basis, we do see a little bit of a different story, because what we actually do see is that, you know, Egor is a guard, and Detroit Pistons really struggle against the guard position. So So we are expecting someone like Egor to be able to take advantage of this and go on the over there. When we look at also Egor's usage rate as of lately, we definitely have seen a massive push and a massive increase in his usage rate as well. And we definitely see that being a huge factor coming into this game. Now, when we look also at some of the injuries, now some of them are definitely a little bit more notable than others, but Haywood Highsmith, Zaire Williams, and Noah Clowney are all expected to be out for the Brooklyn Nets, so it definitely does give an increase to Egor's usage rate out there. And then Chris LeVert, Cade Cunningham, and Tolu Smith is expected to be out for this game as well. Now, anything can definitely still change, but we don't really see the injuries being that big of a deal. Like, yes, it will add a little bit of, cherry on top, but whether they play or not, we definitely still see Egor going on the over. Now, looking at Egor Demin and his matchup against, Detroit Pistons so far this season, we actually saw them face off against each other last year on November 7th and had 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists there. So yes, we did see him struggle a little bit in that matchup, but as I mentioned before, we definitely are seeing a different sort of, Egor due to the fact that Brooklyn Nets are starting to not just play him more, but his usage rate out there has remained very, very high due to just changes in game plan. And we definitely see that happening once again in this next matchup for sure. Now, when we look at, what the pros do have to say about this line, now we have him for 13.5 while they have him for 14.5. So it is kind of difficult to go off what the bookies are saying there since we have a different line. But it definitely does show that we are getting him for a pretty good line at 13.5. So, that's definitely good to see. What we also do see when it comes to this is that the projection that they do have for him is 12.9. So they do have him projected for the under. So we are going a little bit against the projection there. But we also do know over the last 15 games, we have seen him go on the over in 60% of those matchups. So he's significantly gone on the over time and time again. So coming into this next one, we are definitely liking the over for this situation here. And we definitely see someone like Egor going on the over for sure. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for someone like Egor Demin coming into this game. So Egor Demin, 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists for more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Julian Strawther. Now, this one is a fantastic one for actually points for 4.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Julian Strawther, we have actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, you see on January 19th, faced off against Charlotte Hornets, had 15 points in that matchup. January 24th, faced off against Milwaukee Bucks, had 20 points there. January 28th, faced off against Detroit Pistons, had 4 points in that matchup. Then January 30th, faced off against the Brooklyn Nets and had 7 points there. Then January 31st, faced off against the LA Clippers and had 3 points in that matchup. So pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Julian, we have definitely seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, but his average over the last 5 is 9.8. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also know that Denver Nuggets have themselves a really good matchup against Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, looking at both these teams and where they do lie, starting off with actually Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets do come in at the 2nd spot in the Western Conference. 33 wins, 16 losses, a 67.3% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 14-9 from home, 19-7 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So very interesting to see, as we've mentioned. And looking at, Denver Nuggets, they face off against an Oklahoma City Thunder team that do rank a little bit better, as they do have the number 1 spot in the Western Conference. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting one, but we do know Thunder have 38 wins, 11 losses under their belt, 77.6% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 21-4 from home, 17-6 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very interesting to see from them there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also know that Denver Nuggets face off against the OKC team that do rank very well when it comes to restricting points, because they rank actually number 1 when it comes to points allowed, actually only allowing 108 points per game. So they are one of 2 teams that allow less than 110 points out of all 30 NBA teams. So they are almost in a category of their own. But, when it comes to Oklahoma City Thunder, they have absolutely done a fantastic job all season. They are a great defensive team, and that's why coming into this game, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, for someone like Julian Strawther, he is also a guard, and we do know that Oklahoma City Thunder have some great defensive guards. And because of that, we do see that OKC do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and also even assists at the guard position. So it doesn't really matter which stat. They have enough guards to really cause a lot of havoc. And that's why coming into this game, we do very, very much like the under for it. Now, when we look at this game, we also do know that Julian has definitely seen a little bit of an increase in his usage rate due to injuries, but we are expecting a couple of players to be back. Jamal Murray's estimated to return, same with Christian Braun and Nikola Jokic, and we definitely are expecting that to take a huge amount away from Julian Strawther and actually lead him for the under for this one. Now, it is obviously still game time decision. Now, even if they don't end up playing, we still see Julian going on the under due to Oklahoma City Thunder's defense in general. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under for this situation here. Definitely keep an eye out for someone like Julian coming into this game. Now, when we look at his matchups against OKC, all of them were from last season. So we saw on the 24th of October, faced off against OKC, had 6 points, 0 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then Julian Strawther on the 6th of November 2024 had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So really, really interesting to see. But as I've always mentioned, take this with a grain of salt. Obviously, looking at those games, it is from last season, and it is a very, very different season here. Now, when we look at what the pros do have to say, really interesting to see because we see that Julian Strawther actually has a line on the pros at 5, but they still have him very much favored for the under. So this definitely works out in our favor there. The fact that they do very, very much, favor the under and agree with us on the under here, I think is great. And we also agree with the projection as well because they have him projected for 1.6 points as well. So definitely works out in our favor there. Overall, it is definitely going to be massive to see this because what we also do know when we look at the last 15 games is that we do also see that he's going on the under in 60% of these matchups. So as I mentioned before, we really only see Julian provide a lot more scoring and also just getting a lot more minutes out there when it comes to injuries or certain situations. However, coming into this next one, we do very much like the under for it, and we definitely are expecting the under once again. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for Julian Strawther here. So Julian Strawther, 4.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Thomas Bryant. So Thomas Bryant, another fantastic player, and this one is for 4.5 rebounds, and this one is for more. Now looking at Thomas, we have actually seen him go on the over in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on January 15th, faced off against Philadelphia 76ers, had 1 rebound there. January 20th, faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder, had 0 rebounds in that matchup. January 25th, faced off against Orlando, had 3 rebounds there. 4 rebounds against LA Lakers on January 29th. And then 6 rebounds against Phoenix Suns on January 31st. So really, really interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Thomas Bryant, he is finding himself in an interesting matchup. But we also do want to mention his average over the last 5 is also 2.8. But what we do also see when we look at this is that Cleveland Cavaliers and Thomas Bryant face off against Portland Trail Blazers. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game there between both of these teams. Looking at where both of them do actually lie, starting off with Cleveland. Cleveland have definitely still had a very, very good start. A lot of people thought they would be ranked a little bit higher, but they still are in that top 8. Because they come in at the 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. They have 29 wins and 21 losses under their belt, a 58% win percentage there, and also are 17-1 from home, 12-10 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very, very interesting to see from them there. Now looking at their matchup, which is Portland Trail Blazers, we see that Portland do come in at the 9th spot in the Western Conference, and they also have 23 wins and 26 losses. So that's a 46.9% win percentage there. 13-11 from home, 10-15 from away, and are currently on a 4-game losing streak. So really, really interesting to see. Obviously, looking at looking at a team like Portland Trailblazers defensively, when we actually look at where they do lie when it comes to rebounds allowed, we also see that Portland Trailblazers do rank 15th, allowing 43.8 rebounds per game. So this one is kind of a no-brainer to us. Obviously, looking at that, we do know that, Portland Trailblazers do really struggle at restricting rebounds, and that's why coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the over for this one. Now, for someone like Thomas Bryant, we definitely have seen him do a great job time and time again. But what we also do know when it comes to actually Thomas Bryant is that we also do see that, he is a big man, center, power forward, and Portland Trailblazers as a whole do a really poor job at restricting, centers and forwards to the rebound sort of category. So that's why coming into this game, we are definitely expecting the over for this one. Although Thomas has struggled as of recent, we also do know that he has faced off against much tougher defensive rebounding teams, and it definitely has been a struggle for him. But what we do see this as an advantage is that now it has brought this line a little bit too low, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the over. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for someone like Thomas Bryant coming into this game. We see a lot of value there, especially since his line is, unfortunately a little bit on the lower side, due to his past matchups. Now, looking at their matchups in the past, we see that Thomas Bryant faced off against Portland on the 3rd of December last year, and he had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 assists there. So he was able to hit that, rebounding number very, very well. 4.5 the line. He was able to hit 6. So we definitely are expecting him to hit it once again coming into this game. Now, looking at what the pros do have to say, now they have him for 4.5 rebounds as well. And they have him significantly for the over as well. So that definitely does work out in our favor there. I think it is fantastic to see that, Thomas Bryant is in a position where the bookies are agreeing with us. But then we also do see that the projection they have him for is 1.6. So we are going a little bit against the projection here, but are agreeing with the bookies. So it definitely does even out in some way. But looking at this matchup, we do also know that Thomas Bryant and also his last 15 games, we've actually seen him go on the over in 33% of these matchups, or roughly 33%. Now, he definitely has struggled as of recently due to the fact that he has faced off against tougher teams. But as I mentioned, he last matchup against Portland, he was able to go on the over, and we should see that again. And as we've always mentioned, matchups. That's what's most important. And for Thomas Bryant, a matchup like this, we should definitely see him go on the over here. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for someone like Thomas Bryant coming into this game. So Thomas Bryant, 4.5 rebounds, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Domantas Sabonis. Now, this one is a great one for actually points and rebounds. So this one is another combo one for actually 27.5, and this one is for more. Now, looking at Sabonis, we have actually seen him go on the over in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on January 21st, faced off against Miami, had 16 points and rebounds there. After that, had 40 points and rebounds against Cleveland Cavaliers on January 24th. Then January 26th, faced off against Detroit, had 19 points and rebounds there. Then 23 points and rebounds against New York Knicks on January 28th. Then January 30th, faced off against Philly and had 21 points and rebounds in that matchup. So very, very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Domantas Sabonis, we have definitely seen him do a fantastic job time and time again. But what we do also know when it comes to this matchup, and also in the last 5 games, he has definitely struggled to hit this line, and his average over the last 5 is 23.8. Now, when we look at the matchup, Sacramento Kings face off against none other than Washington Wizards. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting matchup between both of these teams, but looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with Sacramento. Sacramento actually do come up at the 15th spot in the Western Conference and have 12 wins and 38 losses. Now, they have a 24% win percentage there. They're also 9-16 from home, 3-22 from away, and are currently on an 8-game losing streak. So it definitely has been a little bit tough for Sacramento Kings as of lately. They are hoping to see if they can change things around, but as of right now, they definitely are struggling quite a little bit. But when we actually look at their matchup, which is none other than actually against Washington, Wizards are in the Eastern Conference, and they are also a pretty poor team because they come in at the 14th spot in the Eastern Conference, and have 12 wins and 35 losses. Now, they also have 25.5% win percentage there, 8-16 from home, 4-19 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So definitely very, very interesting to see. Now, looking at someone or looking at a team like Washington Wizards, what we do also know is that, points-wise, starting off with points-wise, we see that Washington Wizards rank 29th, allowing 122.7 points per game. So they allow quite a lot of points, and not just that, they are one of very few teams that allow more than 120, which I think is really interesting to see. But what we also do see when it comes to rebounds allowed is that Washington Wizards rank 30th, allowing 47.7 rebounds per game. So very, very interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Domantas Sabonis, we definitely have seen them do a fantastic job, against easier teams. And yes, he has faced off against tougher matchups over the last 5. As you see, Miami, Detroit, Philly, New York Knicks, all very tough teams. But when we actually expand the horizons past these 5 games, we tend to see Sabonis really take advantage of poorly defensive teams. And that's what we are expecting in this matchup for sure. Domantas Sabonis and Sacramento do face off against a Washington team that not only just struggle at restricting points and rebounds, but they also do struggle at restricting points and rebounds to the big man position. So whether that's forwards or power forwards and centers, we definitely see someone like him going on the over. Now, when we also see when it comes to Domantas Sabonis and the matchup between them and Washington, we have actually seen them face off against each other before, as they faced off on the 16th in this year and actually had 13 points, 6 rebounds, and also 5 assists. So we actually did see he did struggle to actually hit this line for sure, but he did only play 21 minutes in that game, and because of that, we are expecting more minutes from him in this next matchup. But we are also expecting from him is to continue and push, to really get more stats on the board. So definitely coming into this one, as I mentioned, his line has definitely been dragged down just a little bit due to the fact that it has been dragged down due to his tough matchups that he has faced off against. It's brought this line a little bit too low that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the over. Now, getting into what the pros do have to say. Now, unfortunately, the pros still have him for out. However, Domantas Sabonis is on the prize pick line, so we are actually taking advantage of this. But what we can do see is that when we look at points and rebounds, we can still look at the last 15 and how he is done. Now, he has gone on the over in only 46.7% of these matchups. But what we also do know is that when it comes to having around that 50-50 mark, which is what we have here, we definitely see this being more of a situation based off who they play against. Some of the games where he has gone on the under has been against tough teams. Miami, Detroit, New York Knicks, Philly, and some of the teams he has gone on the over on, Chicago, Milwaukee, Denver, have definitely been, in some cases, very, very easy for someone like Sabonis to go on the over. Now, we have mentioned that in their last matchup, which was this one right here, he did actually go on the under, but we definitely see that changing this time. Now, as we mentioned before, obviously, Domantas Sabonis, his actual line is at 27.5, but the fact that he is at 27.5, we do believe that his last matchup and also his matchups as of lately has definitely been a bit more on the lower side. It's brought this line very, very low that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the over. So for that sense, we are definitely sticking to the over. When we look at the Wizards as well and Sacramento Kings, both are very, very fast-paced teams. And coming into this matchup, we are definitely expecting a lot of pace in this matchup. And because of that, as we've always said, more pace leads to more volume, and more volume leads to more opportunity to score and also rebound. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for someone like Domantas Sabonis coming into this game. So Domantas Sabonis, 27.5 points and rebounds for more, I think is a fantastic pick.